Hey everyone, in this video I'm showing you how not to disable the EGR valve on a Renault Trafic or its Opel Vivaro and Nissan Primastar twins. Someone tried it the wrong way on my van and it caused more harm than good. Let's take a closer look at what went wrong and why you should avoid this mistake. The problem: my van had been jerking badly during acceleration, but only when it was warm. In winter at around 0 degrees Celsius everything ran smoothly. But once temperatures climbed to 10 degrees Celsius or more, the issue started. At 20 degrees Celsius plus, the jerking was really noticeable. Definitely not normal. So I suspected the EGR valve. It's responsible for recirculating exhaust gases back into the engine to reduce emissions. But if it's stuck open or not working properly, you can get exactly the kind of rough driving I experienced, especially under load. What I found: while taking things apart, I noticed something strange. Someone had tried to deactivate the EGR valve by unplugging the vacuum lines and sealing them with screws. Their thinking was probably, no vacuum, no EGR function. But here's the catch: the EGR flap in this model stays open by default. So by removing vacuum, they actually ensured that exhaust gases constantly flowed through the system. Oops. To make matters worse, the electrical connection to the valve was still plugged in, likely to avoid error codes. But that meant the valve was still receiving signals and trying to function. Result: the so-called deactivation had no effect at all. In fact, it probably made things worse, tearing it down. At this point, I decided to properly remove the entire EGR system to inspect and clean or replace it. Easier said than done. The engine bay is tight, bolts are hard to reach, and some were completely seized. I spent hours on one bolt alone, tried drilling it out, hammering on a multi-spline socket, all with no success. So eventually I thought, enough is enough. I grabbed the angle grinder and cut the bolt head off. Thankfully, the part underneath wasn't threaded, so I could reuse the attached hose, which is expensive and only available as an OEM part. After that, I removed the front end of the van for better access and finally got the EGR valve and cooler out. What the system looks like: in this engine, the EGR valve is electronically controlled, not just vacuum operated. It works together with a flap and a cooler that also has water lines. The vacuum pod moves the flap, which regulates how much exhaust gas flows through the cooler. And as I mentioned earlier, the flap stays open without vacuum. So the attempt to block vacuum did nothing. With the system removed, I tested it by blowing air through the EGR cooler. Sure enough, air flowed right out the top. That tells me the valve isn't sealing properly. It could be stuck or leaking internally. After 300,000 kilometers, not too surprising. New parts, same problem. I replaced everything, new valve, new cooler, and hoped for the best. But after a test drive, still jerking. So the EGR system wasn't the root cause after all. A bit frustrating, but at least I ruled it out. Conclusion: so here's the takeaway. If you're thinking about just disabling your EGR valve by pulling vacuum lines or blocking things off, don't. On engines like this one, it doesn't work and it can make things worse. Now I'll probably start looking at the injectors as the next potential culprit. Not fun, but that's how it goes. Thanks for watching, and if this video saved you some time or frustration, give it a like and consider subscribing. See you next time in the garage.